I can tell you something that I feel like I learned from that process, which is I'm fairly reductionist when it comes to faces. And I think we actually spoke about this before in terms of different races or skin colours, for example. Growing up in a very white area, really, down here in Dorset, it seems, and this also could be the basis of most racism, I suppose, in life, but it seems like easier to just categorise of, that Asian man on that program or something, and then when you get like 2 or 3 of characters who have a similar skin tone, it then becomes, you don't recognise those apart as well as you do the other people. And I think we have spoken before about this idea that people recognise and have finer distinctions between people of their own race compared to others. Is that?
Yeah. So this is really well published in the psychological literature. So it's what we call the other ethnicity effect in face recognition.
Right.
And there's various potential hypotheses or explanations for why this might happen. So basically, we're better at recognising faces from our own ethnicity compared to those of others. And some people see that as quite a social psychological phenomenon. So it's something to do with the way we're classing people as our in-group versus our out-group, and that actually transfers onto our cognitive performance in face recognition. But it actually comes down to that social categorization rather than something perceptual, if you like, or visual that we're doing. Whereas other people see it as more of like a visual expertise effect. So for like what you're saying, you grew up locally where, very much you see mostly white people around. That's where your visual system has grown its expertise because it's had much more contact with people from that ethnicity. And you've had much less experience at distinction between, say, black people or Asian people. And that, going back to what we talked about right at the start of this, about whether the brain can change and become more fine-tuned to face recognition. Well, this other ethnicity effect actually says, and for certain types of faces, that fine-tuning can occur.
So if you go and live in a different culture with different races, you would become more adept at...
So there's mixed evidence on that, but
right.
The suggestion would be if you did it as a child...
As a child again.
You'd be likely to. Mixed evidence as to how that happens with adults.